Hello, welcome to Creative You Knitting and Crocheting Podcast, and I'm Catherine Kirby, and I have a lot to show you tonight. So we had talked about Ella Ray Sunkissed yarn, and this is a scarf that the company sent me to show how the colors look like they're sun faded. I should have worn a top. I have a brown 3/4 length top that I had in the shop window with a scarf or something on it. Anyway, it got sun dyed and it's kind of splotchy like a tie-dyed shirt, and I kind of like it. So, but what this doesn't really show you is that this yarn has striping. Look at that. Isn't that so pretty? So this is a pattern called scapulae. Your scapula are your bones that stick out. And I'm doing this for my granddaughter, Gabby. And she's 10, but she's small. So I'm making her the 10 and hoping, although with cotton, you don't get a lot of stretch. So here's the thing that's kind of worrying me here. Let me show you here. It has a bit of a puff sleeve, but I've never knitted anything that when you put your markers, you have your front, your sleeve, your back, your sleeve, your front. Well, my sleeve has as many stitches as the back. And she doesn't tell you like how many total stitches you should have, only how many you should have in the back. So I'm wondering if I did something wrong, but I can't find it, because when you look at that, that doesn't look real poofy. And that might show you a little better that they're puffed. So I'm concerned. I'm concerned that it's not going to look right. I don't know. There goes Patches. When I pulled out this chair felt heavy. It's because she was sitting on it. There she goes. So I'm at the point where I'm just about ready to bunch off the sleeves. So more later, but I did want to show you how the yarn stripes, and it's a very soft to knit with. So what is next? I don't do a lot of drops patterns because I had a bad experience, but this is called Pixie. And as you can tell, it's curled and it's done with a bulky yarn. And I do have some bulky yarns that are kind of furry, and I think that would be good with. But when you own a yarn shop, you always have those yarns that sit and nobody's buying them, and you're trying to make them attractive because, I mean, there's nothing wrong with them. Now, there's someone who did the furry, but then they did just regular yarn, and I like that a lot. Everybody else kind of did theirs all furry. And you may or may not know that you can click on yarn ideas and see what people are using, what kind of yarns they're using. So this is a Serdar yarn that's kind of, the colors I have are kind of faded. They've been sitting and nobody's buying. And even on clearance, nobody was buying. So I combined them with an eyelash yarn, which actually these are pretty soft. And here's where I am. The only thing is, for the size 5 to 6, I'm supposed to have 8 inches here. And that only happens if I block it. So here I am. And I'm so happy that they made a diagram, because if I didn't have the diagram, I'm now at place A against B. And I'm like, well, I only have one piece. But the diagram tells me I'm to slip all of these on a stitch holder now, except I think the first and second. And then I am supposed to sew A to B. So there's the diagram. So these tails are my A and B. So that makes sense because that will be the armhole. And then if I want to do the rest in a yarn that's not fuzzy, then when I pick up stitches, or if I wanted to do it in another color. So what color do you think would look good with this bright yellow? One thing about bright colors, if you take your child on a trip to a park or an amusement park or a big touristy event, you can find them very easily if they have bright colors. So if you have any ideas about what you think would look nice with bright yellow, let me know. I guess you could do team colors and so forth. So the yarn's making my nose itch. I thought I would show you a couple bloopers. So I designed these little cell phone cases, but the problem with that is cell phones keep changing in size. They're not the same size anymore. And if I had to do it again, I think I would figure out maybe how to do it in the round. I don't know, but my yarn wants to go off to the side. And I did Velcro, but I keep losing my one, so I guess I should have sewn it. But now it's really too small, so I have to use it for something else. So that was one of my bloopers. This is an Aran weight cotton, and I can't find the pattern, but this was like a market bag. And it's just so long and all I can picture is the big baguette breads or celery. And so, yeah, I kind of consider this one of my bloopers. Maybe if it had been smaller, and it needs some type of handles. And then I had some, I call it bling yarn. And you know, if the company doesn't give you ideas, you're kind of stuck with this yarn. But it is lovely. I love the pastel colors. It's kind of done in the, when everybody was doing the ruffle, but I think I would just scrunch that up. Now, I'm not saying this, but the right color top, that would make a really pretty edging, even edging on a shawl. But you know how it goes. The yarn just hibernates. So close your eyes because, man, this is bright. I freeform designed a belt with the orange, green, pink color. And you know, if I had on a dark dress, a navy dress, a dark green dress, it might not look terribly bad. It might even be eye-catching, but I don't have such a dress. So for now, this just sits in my drawer. This is not a blooper, but this is called Oval Table Lace Placemat by Red Heart Design Team. And when we moved into our house here, it was 3 shades of this color. It was the light, the medium, and the dark. And even though we painted over it, after a time, I mean, when you walked in, the effect was stunning because they have recessed shelving. It was just gorgeous. But after a while, it's like we're peached out. But somehow it got in my brain, and I wanted to do a placemat for the table. Maybe I should block it. I don't know. This is done with a DK weight cotton, and I think that's what the pattern calls for. But I'm quite pleased with it, and it will look pretty on the table. So that, and in my description, I try to put what we talked about that day. So I've been sharing with you a bit out of the monumental medical myth books. And I, as a child, had a lot of dental fillings. I found out just a few years ago that the dentist was crooked and was telling our mother we had 10 and 12 and 13 cavities at a time. And my mom's sister took her daughter, and he said the same thing. She had 13 cavities. She took her daughter to another dentist, and he said she didn't have any cavities. So I have all these fillings in my mouth, and they are linked to chronic pain, which I have. So this is a chapter on the dental fillings, and there's something called iatrogenic, and it's a word that means caused by medical treatment. And it talks about the dental filling. It's a medieval pre-Civil War product that's 50% mercury. Mercury is so toxic that if the dentist takes a mercury filling out, he has to dispose of it as a hazardous waste. And you wouldn't put a leaky mercury thermometer in your mouth. I remember when I was training as a nurse, I was paired with a nurse, and I heard her say that morning, and I'm stuck with a student, and it was me, and I felt bad. So she puts this mercury thermometer in this guy's rear, and he's on his side, and she walks away. And I'm thinking, what if he would turn over and it would snap? You know, you need a hazmat team for that. So dentists are trained that these fillings are not harmful, that they're bonded and they don't leak. The truth is they do leak, and they cause chronic pain. In fact, every time you drink something, especially hot, or you eat, mercury is leaked out in your bloodstream, to your lungs, to your brain, and so forth. And there could be a lot of bad things linked with this, but I watched a medical program, and the dentist said when folks get these mercury fillings out done in a correct way, that they feel much better. Physically, they feel much better. And so mercury is by far the most toxic heavy metal. None even come close. You know, we put those in baby vaccines too. More than is allowable for a 350-pound man. So let me be crystal clear. If dentists were to dump some mercury fillings in a lake, he would be breaking the law. He can't put it in the trash or bury it in the ground either, nor can he put it in a landfill. But if he dumps some in your mouth, it's good for your health, right? And it also says that there's about a 0.5 gram of mercury in each dental filling. And that's a lot. That's enough to contaminate all fish in a 10-acre lake. And it also says, don't expect your dentist to jump on board if you ask to have your fillings removed. According to the American Dental Association Code of Ethics, a dentist who acknowledges that mercury fillings are toxic and recommends their removal are acting unethically. It's improper and unethical. So I'll leave you with that thought. I finished the Children's Hour. If anybody wants me to mail them this book, I only have one, but it could get mailed around. Just share your address. It was lovely. I would love to read another book. It's about elderly sisters and the next generation and secrets from the past and how they have to be pulled out and dealt with when their aging sister with Alzheimer's comes to visit. It was wonderful, and it ended sweet. So the Children's Hour. Now on with the classic, E.M. Forster's A Room with a View. I've read it before, but I've forgotten. So, you know, they say the beginning of a book needs to pull you in. So here's the first little chapter. The Signora had no business doing it, said Miss Bartlett. No business at all. She promised us south rooms with a view close together, instead of which here are north rooms looking into a courtyard and a long way apart. Oh, Lucy. And a cockney besides, said Lucy. They're surrounded by the English. So do you get the idea that they're uppity and snobbish and they need a room with a view? So, and then lastly, I've been sharing a page from the Book of Mysteries by Jonathan Cahn, who is a Jewish rabbi, and each page is pretty profound. And it said that, do you know the name of God? There's no consonants. It's YHWH. That's Yahweh. He said, you speak his name all day long. Said, I don't understand. Well, when you say, I am happy, you speak his name. His name means I am. When you say, I'm sad, you speak his name all day long. And it's really beautiful the way they say that we speak God's name first. I am happy. I'm joyful. I am so glad you came. And it's always first. That's pretty profound and beautiful. So tomorrow, if these podcasts upload, I sure hope to show you some finished things. Have a great evening. Signing out. And shine, baby, shine.